So even as the People's Democratic Party, or PDP, appears to be facing its darkest days so far in the run-up to the 2023 election, with various rebel groups targeting the party from within, a prominent group of supporters from the north is warning Nigerians against voting the APC back into power. Calling themselves the Northern Awareness Initiative, the group says it's embarking on a massive awareness campaign across northern Nigeria to educate people at the grassroots on the need to vote out the ruling APC party, which they say has failed on the economy, on insecurity, on fighting corruption, and on tackling poverty. To vote for Bola Tinubu, they say, would be suicidal. They called on Nigerians, particularly northerners, to instead vote for the PDP presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar, who they say led the economic team that paid off Nigeria's debt in the past and has the sort of pedigree that can take this country forward. But with the powerful Nyesom Wike group targeting the very heart of the PDP, and another group that cuts across the ranks of the party, pledging its support for Peter Obi, what chance does the PDP really have going into 2023? Well, later in the program, I'll be joined by a member of the APC Presidential Campaign Council, Emma Niboro. But first, I'm joined now in the studio by the PDP stalwart, member of the Northern Awareness Initiative and former Director General of the Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria, FRCN, Dr. Ladan Salihu. Thank you very much indeed for joining us.
Thank you, Charles, for having me.
So first of all, tell us about this Northern Awareness Initiative. What's the idea behind it?
Well, thank you very much, Charles. This initiative, the Northern Awareness Initiative, was formed in order to fill in the gaps of information, of communication, and the gaps that, exist in terms of deepening stakeholding. Right now, we are on the campaign trail. Today, Atiku was in Jos. Yesterday he was in Nasarawa. In between, you must have some sort of initiative that fill in the gaps in terms of communicating with the people at the grassroots, in terms of selling the message and the meaning of PDP in the 2023 elections. And you only need to look at the core issues that affect Nigeria today to be able to appreciate why we need to have the Northern Awareness Initiative group. Now, recall that the National Bureau of Statistics gave a report in which they said Nigerians, about 133 million Nigerians, are into multi-dimensional poverty. Now let me break down the statistics for you quickly and for our viewers. Out of the 133 million Nigerians that are in multi-dimensional poverty, you have 11 million from the southeast, you have 19 million from the south-south, and you have 16 million from the southwest. If you collapse them together, you have about 47 million from the southwest. But guess what? In the northwest alone, you have 45 million people, almost proportional to the number of those who are in multi-dimensional poverty in the south.
Whole of the southern
whole
region.
Of the south put together.
Right.
In the middle belt, you have 20 million. In the northeast, you have 20.5 million. Now, we came to the inescapable conclusion that the APC and other parties that are in contention with the PDP in the 2023 general elections are harvesting these gullible minds, so to say, in an area where education, if you look at the index, is low. The number of broadcast stations or media outlets proportionately low. I can tell you for the record that we have 683 broadcast stations as we speak, including Arise, on air in Nigeria, radio and television. Less than 20% of the total are from this part of the country. A lot of us have been educated through scholarships from, public funds right from, our secondary school days. We've come to a situation where the gap in information places a premium responsibility on some of us to go down to the grassroots, to educate the people, to make the facts available to them so that they can make informed choices. And we tell them that the PDP is the choice, for 2023, because if you look at these statistics and other issues on the Human Development Index, health, education, and standards of living, among other indices, on the Human Development Index, you're not talking about the issue of insecurity. You're not talking about the issue of out-of-school children. You're not talking about the issue of terrible, almost scandalously managed, if not embarrassingly managed economy. You are talking about all of this put together. In a more organized civil nation, APC should not even be on the ballot at all. PDP should be competing with other parties.
Right.
Because APC is a clear and present danger, is a cataclysm politically.
Yeah, but they would argue that things might have got worse in terms of the numbers of people who are now in that multidimensional poverty. But that if you go back, and that has been the history of this country, if you go back to the time when the PDP was in office, and PDP was in power for 16 years, the APC has been there for 8 years. And if you go back to that period, it was getting progressively worse, not better. So the same trend that was started or kept evolving during the PDP's period has continued in the same way. So some would argue that neither the PDP nor the APC are entitled to govern this country any longer.
No, I think it is not a justified argument, in my view.
Well, it wouldn't be in your view, because you support the PDP.
Let me put it this way, Charles.
Yes.
When PDP exited power, 2015, what 1,000 naira can buy for you in 2015, today, you wouldn't even dare put that price on anything.
Yes, I understand that.
Okay.
But you could make the same argument, and I don't mean to interrupt you,
yes,
with any country in the world. Inflationary trends have got worse in any country, and I'm talking about the most developed countries in the world. What they're used to, the cost of living has got, has increased. What they used to use, and I know because, I go overseas, I have relatives and so on, what they used to use £1 to buy in a market in the UK, you can no longer use £5 to buy.
Yes, but in Nigeria, the argument is clearly empirically disproportionate with the reality on the ground. If you look at the campaign profile of the APC when they were contesting with Goodluck Ebele Jonathan as the president, they did promise Nigerians that they will ensure that we have a robust economy. They did promise Nigerians that they will tackle insecurity. They did promise Nigerians that they will create that enabling environment for prosperity to obtain.
Right.
And when you look at within the African continent, you look at Rwanda, Paul Kagame is facing probably the same challenges you have in Nigeria, but he has turned, within the same period of 8 years, almost, Rwanda to be a destination, Rwanda to be like a model for the rest of Africa.
Yeah.
And what we are saying is that we have better quality in Nigeria quality minds, experienced minds, technically gifted and sound, educational minds that can recreate even better positions or better situations that you have in Rwanda here in Nigeria.
I understand what you mean, but
as far as I am concerned, this argument is just for the sake of making, roadside comparisons.
Right.
It doesn't hold
in fairness, though, and we're just trying to be fair.
Yes.
In fairness, Rwanda is a much smaller country than Nigeria. I mean, the population of Rwanda could fit into Lagos.
Absolutely.
And so it's a much easier country to manage than Nigeria is. So basically, your main objective is to try to convince Nigerians not to vote for the APC, and
Absolutely.
that such a vote would be, in the words of one of your leaders, suicidal. Many people, though, as I said, may agree with you that the APC has performed well below expectation.
Woefully.
In the last 8 years. But those people may not necessarily be convinced that the solution lies in voting out the APC and voting in the PDP.
Well, if you remain with the PDP, you are endorsing a lot of a plethora of things, challenges. You are endorsing corruption.
You mean with the APC?
Absolutely.
Yeah, but the same thing could be the reason you were voted out.
No.
The PDP was voted out. A lot of it had to do with corruption and insecurity.
Let me tell you something that happened, in the last 10 days. Because the language of communication for the instances that I'm going to mention to you was in Hausa. It did not reverberate across the political spectrum on the national political canvas. It had to do with Hadi Sirika, former minister, Hadi Sirika of the aviation ministry,
Sirika,
and the House leader, Alhassan Ado Dogwa. Alhassan Ado Dogwa told his supporters in a campaign rally in Kano State that come election day, if you don't vote APC, you will see hell. If you don't vote APC, you will see hell. We will deal with you.
Yeah.
This was
that's an unacceptable threat.
Yes, an unacceptable threat from
Absolutely.
a leader.
That's an intimidation.
Intimidation.
Yeah.
And then the minister of...
And that's a prosecutable offense.
Hadi Sirika said...
Assuming that is what happened.
No, it is what happened. Yeah. I will give you the clip. And you can get a translator to give you a translation. Now, Hadi Sirika came out to say that we will win 2023 elections because we have amassed enough money to prosecute the election. In his words, that the APC has enough money in the bag to prosecute the 2023 elections. And so, as far as he is concerned, this election is over. Yeah. And this has, in the words of my brother Mahmoud Jega, he wrote a column about it. He said, let me quote him, paraphrase him. He said, it has demolished the anti-corruption campaign of the PDP because somebody in the position of a minister, an arrowhead in the government, someone who was in the kitchen cabinet of the president, came out to tell Nigerians that they have enough money to confront voters, to buy votes, to intimidate the electorate into winning an election.
You're interpreting what he said.
Yes.
I mean, from what I heard you say, he didn't
actually, in public domain.
He didn't say anything about using the money to induce people.
No, he said so. He said
to buy votes. Was that what he said specifically?
He said that specifically.
Because I can't comment on it.
Yes,
I
can get you the clip, and you get somebody who speaks Hausa to give you. And because, like I said, such narratives were uttered, with venom in Hausa to a crowd, and they were urging them to take these words down the grassroots.
So this is one of the reasons why you've come up with the Northern Awareness Initiative.
We must come out to ensure that people get the correct information, verifiable information, the right information, and the information that will make them see as clear as chalk is from cheese that the PDP is the party to vote in 2023 general elections.
like
you
that.
don't need to have somebody who comes to boast to you that he has money, to tell you and intimidate you and others that if you vote the PDP, if you don't rather vote the APC, we will deal with you.
Right. Well, as I said, if that is what they said, then that's unacceptable. But do you think that the political environment in Nigeria is becoming more corrosive as the elections draw near?
Absolutely. I am disappointed as a broadcaster, as a journalist, as a broadcast journalist. Over the years, since I, by the divine orientation of the profession you and I, are known for, which is, broadcasting, I have never thought in my lifetime that I will see people who will come with impunity, with such a commanding sense of grandstanding and impunity to approach their countrymen and tell them with audacity that I have money to buy you, that I can deal with you if you don't vote for me. Remember MKO Abiola, at one time arguably the richest person in Nigeria. He campaigned based on integrity, based on his connection with the people across Nigeria, and he was voted roundly, not because of his money, because his money couldn't have bought him the kind of popularity he had. In the years of Shagari, you had Wazir Ibrahim, the guy with politics without bitterness. He was considered to be probably one of the richest then. He contested, he ran his campaign without telling anybody that I am utilizing my money to gain popularity. You have Chief Obafemi Awolowo, who campaigned strictly based on his credibility, integrity, his credit worthiness, were his selling points. And Nigerians generally believed him only because, it happened that he was unelectable. So money has never dictated the tune of politics in Nigeria. Neither has intimidation dictated same. Why are we having a situation in the 21st century where the quality and quantity of politics should be based on the person's integrity and his credentials?
Well, at the moment, the APC...
And then you are having people that are coming on board with negative attitudes.
Right. As I said, I haven't heard these clips that you're talking about, so I can't comment on them. But at the moment, the APC is claiming that it is the front runner that is well ahead of its rivals in the race for this presidency in 2023. And they suggest that that front runner is Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and they suggest that that is why your campaign, rather than their campaign, is getting more bitter and angry and vitriolic. That's what they say. The other point I wanted to make is that we heard recently from the former president, Olusegun Obasanjo, in Enugu recently, all but endorsing Peter Obi, the candidate of the Labour Party. I mean, that's not brilliant for you, is it, given that Atiku Abubakar was his vice president?
Well, I think, first of all, let me say without any equivocation that I have the greatest of respect for our leaders, including President Olusegun Obasanjo, whom I've known very well, and he knows me. So I'm going to be very measured, very reticent with my comments on President Olusegun.
You're going to hit him with a stick, Obasanjo. Not with a sledgehammer, is that right?
In the PDP, we have decorum, we have respect for elders, but we still put the records clear. I recall that in one of the books President Obasanjo wrote, he said, and I'm quoting him, he said, in the 8 years of my administration, Atiku Abubakar has stolen money enough to feed 300 million Nigerians daily. A quote from President Olusegun Obasanjo's book.
I think many people have seen that.
By the time you do the calculations, just $1 per day times 200 million people will give you $73 billion in a single year. times 7 years will give you almost $73 billion. I mean, for crying out loud. Nigeria's gross domestic product, the GDP from the year Obasanjo assumed office to the year he exited, was never anywhere near 1/4 of the total sum.
But
so
what is the point you're making?
The point
that
I'm
he
making
didn't
is
take
that
as much as he said
no,
he did,
he has not
that he
taken
took
a
less.
kobo. He doesn't. He has not taken a kobo.
Yeah, but why would the president, who has all the information available to him, it's a matter of...
That is left for President Olusegun Obasanjo to answer. It is a mischaracterization. It is that there's somehow its historians will have to dig deep to tell us in the future whether there was something particularly wrong that, Obasanjo has not told Nigerians.
Yeah, but why would he pick that specific issue and level it against his vice presidential? I mean, his vice president. Why would he do that?
It is a norm in the Nigerian polity, Charles. Look at the governors. All the governors that have anointed their deputies have ended up, quarreling with them, falling apart. Or any party that you've seen the governor support his deputy, they end up, in tatters. There is somehow this, I have this inscrutable feeling that when you become a president or a governor, you don't want somebody to come after you to outshine you, to go beyond your records. And I can tell you that even when Obasanjo was in office as the president, Atiku Abubakar was vilified, was demonized, he went to court. Nobody has proved beyond any iota of doubt, not one case.
But you have to admit
that Atiku is corrupt. Nobody has said that Atiku. No court of law. Sorry, Charles. No court of law has pronounced Atiku as corrupt.
The PDP has said that repeatedly. But I mean, the point really is that there is the difference between a criminal prosecution and the optics for a politician.
And a civic prosecution.
And the optics look bad.
No, they don't.
When you are a vice president and the president of the country writes a book and puts in that book very strong allegations of corruption against you. I didn't see Atiku Abubakar take him to court to prove him wrong. I didn't see, because that is something that has followed Mr. Abubakar all through his career. And if it is that, if it is such a blatant falsehood, then that would be, the tendentiousness of it would make him go to court to prove that tendentiousness.
No, I think right now, Atiku Abubakar is focused on the 2023 elections and the Project Nigeria. There will be a time in, the lifespan of this administration that I can assure you, Atiku Abubakar will come forward and speak to these issues. But for now, these issues to him...
Okay, well, let's leave that issue aside.
No, because I need to land on this.
The reason I'm saying that is that we've got a minute left on the chat.
I can tell you in a minute that Atiku Abubakar is more concerned with the larger challenge of managing Nigeria in 2023 than confronting, allegations that have not been proved by President Olusegun Obasanjo.
But you also have to remember that beyond, you talked about challenges.
Yes.
The PDP is also battling other demons, as is Atiku Abubakar.
Yes.
And those demons could end up derailing things for Mr. Atiku. The likes of Nyesom Wike, as we heard on this program on Monday, another group within the PDP that has pledged its supports to Peter Obi. It's like being eaten from the inside by some voracious monster that's getting bigger and more destructive by the day. That's the way it looks to the public.
Well, to us in the PDP, everybody has his freedom of expression to exercise. We are not a party that operates with the muffled drum idea. Everybody is free to express his own opinion, but I can assure you, these are issues that will die naturally heading to, the new year. I don't see this as issues that will derail the PDP or that will shortchange the PDP or that will ambush Atiku Abubakar's campaign fortunes and promises in the 2023 general elections. I can tell you about the Wike group.
Very briefly.
Yesterday, the Director General of the campaign, Governor Tambuwal, met with Governor Autumn of Benue State. And there have been series of untold rapprochements between the party and the 5 governors. We don't have to come to release to everybody that no, we are reaching out to them. They are members of our party. They are still PDP bona fide members. We are reaching out to them. The Atiku Abubakar just sent a message of congratulations to Wike on his birthday. We are, the discussions are ongoing, and I can assure you the new year will be greeted with messages of reconciliation that will come after this series of rapprochement. And, there is a greater understanding, and the roadmap to reconciliation and reach out has begun. And I don't see us going into the 2023 general elections with the G5 governors being on the outside or supporting any other candidate than Atiku Abubakar. I can assure you that.
Okay, well, we'll be watching out to see when you guys all kiss and sing Kumbaya.
Thank you so very much.
I want to thank you. It's always brilliant talking with you because you're an exceedingly articulate person, and I say that with all respect.
You make me walk the clouds and continue the conversation.
I couldn't do that. You'd walk the clouds on your own because you got there on your own. Dr. Ladan Salihu is a member of the Northern Awareness Initiative. He's a PDP stalwart and former Director General of the Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria, FRCN. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Lovely to see you.